The president-elect will be back in his element as he kicks it all off in Indianapolis. He will meet with workers at a plant that was set to close down and move to Mexico, as you by now have heard. Now, roughly 1,000 jobs were saved in this transaction, and it has turned some of those who may not have been big supporters kind of around. Watch.
I was not a huge Trump supporter. You know, I didn't really know how to take Mr. Trump. But I'm glad that he actually lived up to a promise and stuck with it, and I'll gladly throw some support to him. And if I get a chance to shake his hand tomorrow to thank him for saving my job, I'll gladly do that.
That's going to be an interesting moment to watch, right? Peter Doocy, live outside Trump Tower in New York City. So, Peter, these workers obviously were taken a bit by surprise by all this, right?
Big surprise, Martha. I just spoke in the last hour to Chuck Jones, who's the president of the union that represents these workers whose jobs were saved, and he says that he was shocked a deal got done. And he says he was shocked because he's seen 8 or 10 plant closures in the last few years, and once a company, in his experience, decides they're going to move where the labor is cheaper or just close down altogether, they don't change their minds. Jones also told me this morning that keeping about 1,000 workers employed around Indianapolis is going to have a big positive impact on schools and small businesses that would have otherwise been hurting if people had to move or were not spending money while they were jobless. As for Carrier, they are now telling us a little bit more about exactly how the next president convinced them to stop sending these 1,000 or so jobs from Indiana to Monterrey, Mexico. They gave us this statement late last night, quote, "The incoming Trump-Pence administration has emphasized to us its commitment to support the business community and create an improved, more competitive U.S. business climate. The incentives offered by the state were an important consideration." Mr. Trump added a tweet on that where he said he thinks the deal is sweet for Carrier because they're going to sell a lot of air conditioners. We expect to hear some more details about it when he and the Vice President-elect Mike Pence visit the Carrier plant today for the first stop on their Thank You Victory tour, and then a little later on tonight at their second stop, which is a big arena in Cincinnati, also part of this Thank You tour. Martha.
I mean, that's going to be fascinating, and also to see what other deals, like the Carrier one, may be around the corner and the climate that it's setting in the country. So in terms of the parade that we see walking in and out of Trump Tower every day, what do we know about what's next on the cabinet list, Peter?
Maybe a few more days into next week before we get another cabinet nomination, and that is because the transition team is apparently waiting to see whether or not it will be possible for the retired General James Mattis to serve as Defense Secretary. The snag is that he retired in 2013, but you've got to be retired from the military for 7 years to take that job, and our colleague Jennifer Griffin reports the Senate and House Armed Services Committees have already drafted some legislation that could make the Mattis pick work if he is in fact the pick. We also learned last night that a Secretary of State Final Four has become a Final Five. Former UN Ambassador and Fox News contributor John Bolton joining the mix. He'll be here tomorrow for a meeting with the President-elect. Martha.
All right, Peter, thanks.